Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we kept going with the Void Crusade, and we will keep going. Yeah, that's actually really easy. Look at that. Damage bonus for enemies, okay. Champions are stronger. Physical resist, well, I don't do physical, I do fire. 10% chance to create a demon on psychic power use. Don't use psychic powers. So, continuing with our games news coverage, Warhammer Skulls happened. Which, it was okay. One of the big things was, I mean, it's not big, but it's something I think is noteworthy. They Creative Assembly released, I think it's Harold Hammer or something, essentially Henry the Hammer. It's like one of the first characters for Warhammer Fantasy, and you can get him as a legendary hero in Total War Warhammer 3 now. Which is a neat little thing. I do like the legendary hero stuff just to give some extra characters who maybe don't fit in as a lord, or they're big but they're not big enough. But there was that. We got more footage of Space Marine 2. It looks good. Still no release date, just 2023, which I'm starting to think we're not going to get it this year. We will probably get it, I'm going to guess March or April next year. Because for, what, 6 months, 8 months now, you've been able to pre-order the game. You can pre-order the $250 Super Special Edition, but they can't be bothered to give me a month that it's coming out. That says to me they're not nearly ready. Because we're already almost halfway through the year. Time this video comes out, it should be 31st? 30th? One of the days. Close to the end of May, beginning of June. I'm focused on this, I can't figure out calendars at the moment, but we're close. Essentially, let's just say, for the sake of argument's sake, it's June. You're at the 6-month mark. It's clearly not coming out June, otherwise that release date would have been listed. Probably not coming out July, because release date would have been listed. August, maybe, but then it'd be pretty tentative if you're not giving a release date yet. September, October? I get the whole idea of releasing in that time because that's the Christmas sales and everything, but it is the dumbest concept I can think of. Elden Ring came out in February and sold like gangbusters. They sold, what, 20 million copies in a year? And you want to know one of their big advantages besides being a FromSoft game? There was nothing else. There weren't other major games to compete. If you release in the fall, you're fighting with Call of Duty, you're fighting with the new Battlefield, because you know there's going to be a new Battlefield. They more or less said, hey, we're working on one. People think that this last season is the last season that 2042 is getting supported, which wouldn't shock me. So it's only a matter of time before that gets the boot. And if you're trying to challenge a dual launch Call of Duty and Battlefield year, you are beyond screwed. Battlefield fans or not, you're really putting yourself behind the 8 ball. And that is such a bad position to put yourself in, and such bad marketing. But so I'm hoping it's further out just for the sake of Otherwise, this game is just not going to get good launch, and it's going to probably suffer for it. I don't want them to rush the game. I'd rather it be good than come out soon and be trash. There's an alpha right now on PC for Speed Freaks. It is a orc vehicular combat game with classes and whatnot. I think it looks cool.
Electrospectral scanning revealed info fragments of high importance in close proximity.
But I'm hoping that'll be a good game.
Have been executed and indicate essential info fragments, Inquisitor. Data has been inloaded.
What I do know is the game, I believe it's coming out for consoles eventually, so I'll pick it up then. And we'll monkey around with that for a while. But since it's alpha, I can't imagine that's coming out in any significant way anytime soon. Unfortunate, but that's the reality of the situation. But it looks fun. I saw tanks that look like Lehman Russ tanks that have been orcified. Some race car looking like jalopies. There's there was a decent amount of stuff. It looks cool. I will give it that. Let's consult our handy-dandy map. Okay, so we just go to this one. Heat resist, that's gonna suck. But we'll be fine. There's also an announcement for an Age of Sigmar RTS. Will I be playing it? Hell no. I don't care in the slightest about Age of Sigmar. The sooner Games Workshop realizes that was a bad decision and moves on from it, the better. As much as Old World is nice to kind of be the sort of revival of fantasy, I would rather have them just reboot the universe than try anything else. Have the whole Age of Sigmar just recollapse on itself and create a new Old World. Bring back old characters, do the whole 9 yards, but expand on things, make a different world that's similar but different, and just move on from there. And also make it so people can use their Age of Sigmar minis, because this way nobody feels like they got screwed. Because I wouldn't want people to get kind of hoed out of a lot of money just because that version of the tabletop didn't do well. There was that. There was Darktide got 2 new missions and the Chaos Spawn boss. Still not really looking to go back to Darktide anytime soon. There's just nothing to the game. It really needed weapon modification in the sense of like foregrips and sights and scopes and stuff. Because like, it always bugged me that you could get the bolter and be just a normal guardsman. And it's like, yeah, we don't need a stock or anything. We just let that SOB rip and roar and mag dump. It's like, no. I want a stock. I should be able to actually shoulder this instead of just snapping my wrists in half when I pull the trigger. Or I'd like a sidearm, honestly. Even though, yes, we have melee weapons, I'd like to at least have a ranged weapon that I can turn into a sniper, so that I can do some of my sniper job stuff as a veteran, instead of being like, yeah, you get a, like, hollow sight, you better hope you can pinpoint heads with that thing. Because it's either that, or it's the machine pistol, and if you're using the machine pistol as a veteran, you're an idiot, because that's a terrible choice. Like, it's not a bad sidearm, but as your primary, it's dumb as can be. But yeah, one of the things are like, oh, it's a public event and you get the new mode or a new map. And I'm like, as much as I love public events, because there's usually cosmetics and stuff tied to them, and I'm a cosmetic hound, I just don't care. The problem is, 2 maps I'm gonna get burnt out on anyways, because it's the same mission on the maps. So yeah, I like Darktide, it's just that game still needed at launch another 8 months to a year in the oven, and it didn't get that back then. And like people said, it's gonna be like Vermintide, where you're gonna come back in like a year and it'll actually be worth playing, or a year and a half, maybe even 2 years. Which is unfortunate, because in that whole time they're just pumping out microtransaction cosmetics. They added more apparently for like the free stuff, which they should have done a long time ago, because the existing cosmetics were like, hey, here's an armor set. Here's an armor set. But now it's blue. Here's an armor set. But now it's gray. It's like, oh. Did it take you like 20 minutes to whip this one up? You swapped a texture. And I know that's very dismissive and kind of dickish, but it really comes off as very low effort when it's just basic texture swaps. Especially when like all the cool stuff is all behind paywalls. It's like, look, I already paid good money for this game, and all you've offered me is crap cosmetics. It's kind of a kick in the nuts. Like, all of the implants and stuff that are really cool, like mechanical eye patches and all this stuff. Because you get a metal mohawk that makes you look kind of like Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like, oh, that'd be cool, but I'm not paying like $15 for a skin for a character. I cannot in any way, shape, or form justify paying like a quarter of the game's price for a skin. The fact people do that and are like, yeah, I can spend $25 on a skin. It's like, dude, you're actually stupid. You might have brain damage. You don't know how much a dollar is really worth if you're doing that. I don't care when people are like, oh, well, I have disposable income. Dispose of it better. People who are financially illiterate are the reason why restaurants in New York can charge egregious prices for gold-covered fried chicken when it's just edible gold leaf. You're eating like a micron thin layer of gold that you're gonna crap out, and you spent like $200. Disposable income or not, that's stupid. But I'm losing the script here. Back to Warhammer. There was Rogue Trader, who's got a beta for PC, but I'm waiting for full release, because it's kind of like how it is with like Baldur's Gate 3. I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, I'm going to play the game now, and then get through what's available, get really bored, and then either not want to play the game anymore, or wait, like, get the game, play through the beginning part that's available, wait until the full game, and then kind of drag myself through that beginning portion again, being like, I know how this goes. Because that's not fun. Either from a viewer perspective, or just for me in general. It's not fun to reach that point where you're like, okay, skip, skip, skip. You're just trying to blitz through everything because you know how it goes. Because I do that with, like, Mass Effect. Played through Mass Effect 1. I have played that game so many times in the past, I did not want to monkey with it again. Did my one playthrough, made myself good, and then I just don't go back. Even though I love the game, just trying to get all the completion sake of all the collectibles, all the quest stuff, do all the side objectives that deal with story that you encounter in the future games. It's a lot of crap. So it's like, I don't want to go through that all over again. But there was, I believe, one more thing. Oh yeah, there was two more things that got revealed for Skulls. First is the digital card game Warpforge has a current beta available on Steam. I don't know, I might give that a try in my free time. Might be interesting, might suck, I don't know. Digital CG, I guess TCGs, aren't really my thing because I like having physical cards. And anything like that, I like to collect physical objects. Because this way, if the server is shut down, I still have a thing. I can play it with friends. I can sell it for, hopefully, a lot of money to collectors. If it's digital and the servers go down, I'm just sitting here like, well, it's gone. And that kind of sucks. The other thing is Power Wash Simulator is getting a Warhammer DLC, which is kind of funny because they also recently announced a SpongeBob one. Kind of wild. I hope the sound, like, you can play any soundtrack, because I would love to have, like, the typical SpongeBob soundtrack with, like, I don't know if it's like a ukulele or a... They have like a sideways chorded instrument thing. I cannot think of the name. But I would love to have the song. This is gonna sound so stupid because I have to replicate as close as possible to what it is. But it's in SpongeBob where they're like doom, doo doom, doo 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 doo. Oh my god, my voice cracks so bad. But it's the doo 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 doom doo doom doo 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 doo. That kind of like typical background music they have in SpongeBob. I want that playing while I'm like power washing a Bane blade. Because the sheer disconnect is what would be amazing to me. And yeah, that was all there was for Skulls. Not bad, not great. There was some miniature stuff. I didn't really check in on all that. I probably should. I really should. I'll do that later. But the gaming side was pretty well covered. Hey, that Artificer magazines will be useful, and a skill point. Let's go, skill point. I mean, we should just keep going with dots. Actually, no, can we yeah. Bonus damage to dot effects for every point of their respective resist. That's better. Loot. Whole lot of nothing if we're being real. But that's bound to happen. And that is where I'm going to call it. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button. It helps out the channel a lot. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.